Hi folks, welcome to Two Riders, and today we're going to do a little demo here on cherry tomatoes and what to do with them. I very seldom grow cherry tomatoes. This year I was growing some. I've only got 2 plants. So these I picked 2 days ago, a good number of them, and I don't usually process them with my other tomatoes that I can or that I make salsa from. I went out today, I said, well, I need to just make sure I got everything out of the garden. So here is what I picked today, if you can see that. And it's a number that's at least equal to that. Some of them are a little on the not totally ripe side, a little bit on the orangey side, but plenty of them are red, ripe, and ready to go. So what am I doing with these? Well, here's my Cosori dehydrator that I got. I believe this was 2 Christmases ago. And I made some, grab them real quick, a couple weeks ago. If you can see what's in this jar, that was the equivalent of at least that. It was 2 full trays. After about 10 hours, 11 hours in the dehydrator, you get little half cherry tomatoes like that. They've got about the texture of a semi-dry raisin or currant, and they taste somewhat like cranberries, actually. They're very sweet. The variety here is called the sun-dried cherry tomato. Really is from Totally Tomatoes up in Wisconsin. This is going to be a simple video. I'll show you what we do. Wash these, get them clean, then slice them in half, put them on these trays. It's a metal tray with a silicone netting on top of it. It does a couple of things. Number one, the gaps in this tray are almost small enough for these rascals to fall through when they dehydrate. The other thing is that instead of spraying my steel with a non-stick spray, I just lay my food on here. This has worked great with jerky. This netting allows, you can't really see it, but it allows plenty of air circulation. And these things will dry nicely in, say, around 140 degrees. I check them at about 9 hours. The little ones will dry faster than the big ones, but you want them all pretty dry. Not snap crunchy, but this has been in here for 2 weeks. There's no mold, no nothing. The moisture level is extremely low. One more thing, if you like this video, if it's helpful to you, please hit like and please consider subscribing. It helps the channel out a lot. I'm doing a few garden related videos. I did a hot pepper jelly video day before yesterday. And I'm going to do a few more as the garden progresses here. It's getting towards the end of summer, but there'll be a few more things to do. So without any further ado, let me get up, change the camera around a little bit, and we'll get started. Thanks again for watching. So now, I've moved things around just a bit. This is what I picked this morning off of 2 plants. And the one plant was planted about a month after the first one. It's just getting into putting out tomatoes, but they come out like crazy. These are the other ones from 2 days ago. This is one of the screens with one of the little netting devices there to help them dry. So here is your cherry tomato, and this is the end that was on the plant. What I normally do is cut them this way. That way the top to the bottom is going to be pretty similar, and you set them up like that. And you don't want them to touch. You want air circulation to be able to dry them out thoroughly. You can see different levels of ripeness, a little green in there, but after they've dried, they're not going to taste terribly different from one another. As a dried item here, you can put them in a jar that's got a lid on it, but you don't have to do any kind of air evacuation or anything like that. If they're dry enough, they're going to keep for a while. You could probably put them in a refrigerator too if you felt like you needed to, but they're great as a little snack. Just pop them in your mouth. It's kind of, like I said, kind of like a cranberry. It's very sweet. I believe these have a Brix level of about 6, is what was advertised in the gardening seed catalog. To give you a reference mark, totally ripe grapes in Virginia that are used in the wine industry If you're going to pick Chardonnay grapes, they're usually picked at a Brix of 23. And at that point, they'll yield about 6% alcohol. So in theory, if you wanted to ferment these, you could probably make yourself a tomato beer that would be about 3% alcohol by volume. Don't know how good that would be. I don't think anybody's ever done it. But one thing that these are good for is toss it into stews. Now, once I'm done with this, I'm going to put it in here. I probably have enough tomatoes for 3 racks. It might be 4 today. I don't know. We'll see here in a minute. But we're going to take a pause. I'll go ahead and get these all sliced up and show you the last one when I put it in there. And we'll get started with the dehydrator. I do want to just have a quick word about the tools I'm using today. I did mention the Cosori dehydrator. Nobody's sponsoring me on these things. These are just tools that I like that I use. Felix is from Solingen, Germany. Most of the knives that I use are Felix knives. Here's my Sudoku, which is a very, there we go. They're handmade in Solingen. We first visited the factory 6 years ago. Went back last year and emailed ahead for an appointment and got to tour the factory and actually see the knives being built. They're made out of German steel, and it is X50 CR MOV15, ice-hardened forged steel. They make the handles, whether the wood handles like this, olive, or the plastic handles, they make them also in Solingen. And they're wonderful knives. It's a little hard to find them in the U.S., but if you can find them, they're every bit the quality of Henkel or any of the others, except that they don't have as much overhead on advertising. And when it says made in Solingen, it means that they're made in Solingen. You will see Henkels that are German-made. You also see Henkels that are Spanish-made, and a lot of Henkels that are Chinese-made using different steel. If you get a chance to get the German ones, they might cost a little bit more, but I find that just the quality is better. So far I've got a whole tray already in there. This is the second tray. This is probably going to be just over 3 trays. I don't want to crowd them. I want to leave space around so that they will dry evenly. And you don't want to put, like I said, you don't want to put away wet, undried items, because then they mold and then you throw all your hard work into the trash. So, all right, I'm going to finish these up and we'll get back to it here in just a second. And here we go. We were able to get actually everything on 3 trays. This dehydrator has room for, I think, 6 trays at once. So we're going to put in 3, if I don't knock these things off of here, and we'll start it up. Level? Okay. You got all 3 in there. You know, it's helpful when you're using electric appliances. Helpful if you plug them in. All right, it's plugged in. Now, there's a very simple device. You hit this, it gives you your temperature. I'm going to start it at 140. Hit it again, and you put in your time. There's half-hour increments. So we're going to take it up 10 hours and hit start. When you do that, you can hear the fan start up. This really isn't going to heat the kitchen up very much. It's only running at 140, and most of the heat is in here. The outside will get barely warm, and we'll come back tonight. It's 11:57 in the morning. So at 10 o'clock tonight, we'll pull them out and take a look. They might be ready at 9 o'clock. But it's a wait and see thing. I've used this for jerky. I've used this for zucchini. Using it now for the cherry tomatoes. This is just a good way to take the goodness of summer, put it in a jar, and use it until the jar's empty. We'll see you here in a couple hours. Hi folks, and this is wrapping up the video. If you watched it to the end, thank you very much. Consider subscribing. Consider hitting like. There'll be a link to the Felix Zepter Solingen knives if you're interested in looking for those. There's also going to be a link to the seed company that sells this. You can see it's marked end. Last night when 11 hours had gone by, 10 hours had gone by, it stopped. I had another hour. It was still a little bit moist on some of the bigger chunks of tomatoes. Got up this morning, and today is, if you take a look, we're looking at Saturday and 11 o'clock in the morning. I got up this morning, put another hour on these, and this is the tray I've been nibbling from. But this is what we're looking at. And some of the bigger ones, the chunkier ones, are looking like this now. But when you chew them, I guess they're kind of like maybe a fruit leather or something like that, but can't see, but I've got 3 trays here, a real abundance, a couple of hundred tomatoes in there. I'm going to let them cool, and after they cool, they're going to go into a jar with the tomatoes that I dehydrated about 2 weeks ago, and then we'll just use them as the season goes on, and we'll do another batch as soon as another batch comes along. Thanks a lot, and check back in.